All right, folks. Unhappy Thursday. Coming to you live from our humble abode. And we will only be doing this here for, well, not only be doing this here, but we will be going to the back porch at some point over the next couple of weeks. Going to try to get some folks on with us, talk about the upcoming season. But until then, this is the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio and part of the Green Legion Radio family. Thank you, as always, for joining us from wherever you may be and whatever service, whatever device you're using to stream us on YouTube. So please pull up a chair, turn up the volume if you got to. Use the company dime if, God forbid, you're still stuck at work. Crack open a cold one if that's your thing on a Thursday night. And let's try to have some fun as we put an end to day 4 of this week's hostage situation, also known as Friday Eve, and look forward to tomorrow being Friday. And we get through that, and we're on to the weekend, folks. Keaton in the room. What's up, my brother? Good night, mate. He says, what's happening, man? You'll notice what I'm wearing here. Eric Allen all over the place. Eric Allen. This is some stuff that I got when we took our day trip up to the Hall of Fame last month. Decided to buy all the stuff then so that I wouldn't be tied down with having to try to do it this weekend when Liam, Grady, and I head off once again to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, this time for Enshrinement Day. And we're going to have a good old time. So we're going to leave. Grady and I will leave work tomorrow, 3-ish, get home, head over to the rental car office, pick that up. It's not like it's an extreme amount of driving. It's just my car is starting to get up to pushing 100,000 miles now. And where I can, when it's not going to cost me an arm and a leg, and I do have a bunch of driving to do, I'm going to try to use the rental car. So I'll go pick that up. And then we are going to hit the road tomorrow, late afternoon, early evening. Find a hotel to stay at somewhere just outside of Canton. And get ready to get up Saturday morning and go have a good time. Yeah, Keaton, you like the hat? All right, let's get a zoom in on that. Class of 2025, Allen 21. Got the bird. And then on this side, the Hall of Fame patch. That's just New Era. But yeah, cool stuff. as the shirt and the hat say, 2025 class, Eric Allen, as a lot of you know, is getting in. So we are going to celebrate that this weekend. I did not, when Dawkins got in, I was not able to go. We were living in Tennessee at the time, just outside of Nashville. And that would have made it probably an 8 to 8.5 hour drive, which I could have done. The hiccup is enshrinement weekend always coincides with Liam's birthday. And Dawkins was, 7 years ago now? So Liam was little. And the thought of not being, and actually, I'm pretty sure it was on Liam's actual birthday. So wasn't able to do it because I would have had to have been away for the night. Like, I'm not going to drive 8.5 to 9 hours, leave at like 2 in the morning to get there for the enshrinement, and then drive all the way back that night. So I would have been away on my son's birthday. So I couldn't come up for Dawkins. But being that we live here now, it's a 3.5 hour drive. And so we're going to go ahead and do it. The three of us are going to head up. Our good friend Roger is going to join us up there. He's got family up there, so he doesn't have to worry about hotels. Good for him. But yeah, we're going to have a good time. And then there's an autograph session, not with the enshrinees from this year, though, which is a little bit of a bummer. But, their time is obviously very precious while they're up there for their own enshrinement. So, but the list of guys that are going to be available for autographs once the enshrinement ceremony is over. Let me find it here. It's a big list, and there's some really prominent names on there. Let's see if I can get it here. Here we go. Hall of Famer, enshrinement, blah, blah, blah. All right. So Steve Atwater. I'm just going to name off some of the more prominent names that a lot of you might know. Steve Atwater, Isaac Bruce, Leroy Butler, Earl Campbell, Harold Carmichael, Tony Dorsett, Tony Dungy, Marshall Falk, Dan Fouts, Randy Gradishier, Charles Haley, Ricky Jackson, Edgerrin James, Charlie Joyner, Willie Lanier, Steve Largent, who, if you don't know who Steve Largent is, I don't know what game you've been watching, but Steve Largent was basically had all these receiving records before before a man named Jerry Rice came along, and Largent did it at 5'11", 180 pounds. Kevin Mawai, Randall McDaniel, Warren Moon, Will Shields, Mike Singletary, Jackie Slater, Lawrence Taylor, Joe Thomas, Thurman Thomas, Dick Vermeil, Paul Warfield, Bryant Young, and there's a few others that are just not quite as prominent. Now, the cost for autographs varies depending on the person. Like Warren Moon is only charging $30 per piece, whereas Lawrence Taylor is charging $100. So, pick your spots. I'm obviously interested in Carmichael and Vermeil. Would be kind of cool to get both of them on football or something, but we'll see how it goes. And we're going to let Liam kind of call some of the shots for how long we hang around, what we try to do autograph wise, because, it's, his birthday's Monday, so we're doing his birthday stuff over the weekend. And if he would like to get back a little bit, sooner, then, we'll do that. But hoping to be able to stick around for an autograph or two. I sent him this list, see if there was anybody he was interested in. He is actually at a sleepover tonight for another one of his buddies' birthdays, so we won't see him until tomorrow. But Lou Mancini in the room. What's up, Green Nation? All right, let's get the business out of the way first here. Everyone, and Michelle just walked in the door a few minutes ago, so she doesn't miss her favorite part of the show. We are proudly sponsored by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Just minutes away from the sports complex, Cheerleaders brings you the area's most beautiful women on 5 different stages. Open 7 days a week from noon until 2 a.m. and until 4 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Also offering free parking, a private booth, for your parties, full menu, daily drinking food specials, premium selection of cigars, a cigar lounge, so on and so forth. If you can't get tickets to the Birds, and let's be honest, we all like to keep our kidneys intact, head over to cheerleaders and enjoy the 75-foot HD TV wall, as well as HD TV screens throughout the entire club. Once again, folks, that is Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Call 215-467-1980 for all of your group information. What do we got here, Keenan? Tell Dorset my ex-wife says hello. They went to Pitt together. She won't admit it, but I think they were more than just friends. Really? All right. It's probably a little TMI, but thanks for sharing. And as always, bottom of your screen here, anytime that this show is live or when we do Heart of the Order, you will see that scrolling on the ticker at the bottom, greenlegion.com. Folks, if you're looking to travel to a Birds game out on the road, this year we're in Buffalo, we're in Minneapolis, we're obviously in Dallas, New York, and Washington. We're in Green Bay, we're in Tampa Bay, we're at Kansas City. If you're looking to get out on the road and you're looking for the way to do an away trip, head on over to greenlegion.com. Click on trips and tailgates. Find the one that you want to go on. If it doesn't say sold out, book away. This also includes, if not yet, then it will at some point, game day only options. Whereas, let's say you live in the Dallas area and you were just looking for a tailgate, maybe a pep rally the night before, or you're looking for game tickets, you're looking for all three. You can go and purchase those things as well. I will tell you, if you're looking to hang out with me some point this year, Keenan, you and I will be able to get together and have a few laughs down in Dallas this year. But I will be in Dallas with Michelle. That's the trip the two of us will be going on. Now, we will be working, but we will be there, and it will be a good time. I am also headed to Minneapolis the middle of October. That one I am going solo. Michelle was not interested in going to see Minneapolis, so I'll be out solo on that one. That one, I don't really think I'm slated to do much work there, but the girls, obviously Stephanie, Sam, they both know that if they need me, I am a snap of the fingers away. If you're looking to come out and have a good time, but to see me out on the road, those are your two opportunities. But I will tell you, whether you want to hang out with me or you just looking for the best way to do an Eagles away game, greenlegion.com. Green Legion, the longest tenured, the best in the business. There is no other way to do a road game. And if you are in the Philadelphia area, while we don't do game tickets, there is a home tailgate every week. 1100 Social, Xfinity Live. Get signed up, and I will tell you, don't hem and haw over it. Don't hesitate. We say about he who hesitates. If there's a home tailgate you're looking to go to, get signed up. Just do it, guys, girls, whoever. It is 4 hours of all you can eat, all you can drink, 5-minute or less walk to the link, 1,000-person footprint. You have heated, you have indoor and outdoor seating. It really, truly, whether we're home or on the road, the Green Legion is 1,000% the best way to go. So there is your business end of things. Keaton again, and I just got gifted 2 tickets to the home opener. Pam and I get to see Jerry's sorry ass face when they raise the Super Bowl 69 banner. So great way to segue there, Keenan. Thank you very much for that. We are sometime over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be at the back porch to do the show, and we're going to invite. I'm trying to get our good friend Dave Thompson on with us. He is part of our crew out here. One of our OGs. We call him Dad. He was on the show some time ago, gave us his life story, growing up in Kensington and, Kensington before it is what it is now, off to the military, moved around, landed out here in the Cincinnati area, planted roots. Just an absolute just a huge amount of knowledge, not just about the Eagles and the Phillies and all that, but about Philadelphia as a whole. And I want to get him on again to help me break down the upcoming bird season and what we think is going to happen week in and week out. I will tell you, and you guys are not going to like this. I will tell you straight out right now. I think look, playing Dallas early in the year is there was a little bit of a surprise, but you're not going to hear me complain about raising a banner right in Jerry's face. Okay, that part's awesome. I will tell you right now, though, I am not going to be shocked if we walk away with a loss in that one. I know, I get it. I'm going to get crucified for it. I understand, but unless things completely come off the rails for the girls leading into the season, then I would expect a very charged up, healthy Dallas team coming into Philly that night with Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, which are going to be a problem if Pickens can keep his head under control. All right, that tandem is going to be an issue. Now, it wouldn't have been as much of an issue last year because we still had Darius Slay on the other side. This year, we're not quite sure what's going to happen over there. Is it going to be Keely Ringo? Is it going to be Cooper DeJean? Is it going to be? Are we going to see a mixed bag? I also know that we've been moving Quinion Mitchell around the field, and that is to build his versatility up to be able to follow certain receivers around. Dallas likes to move CeeDee Lamb around the field a lot. They'll split him out wide. They'll put him in the slot. They'll line him up in the backfield. All that kind of shit. What's up, brother? How you doing, Bryant? And Lou, very, very, very good point. They're not exactly healthy with Guyton going down. I get it. And I'm not sitting here guaranteeing anything. I just, we're going to raise that banner right in front of their face. They're going to be healthy. They're going to be charged up. Don't be surprised, guys, if that one doesn't quite go our way. But we're going to get into that, breaking down the schedule and everything once I can get over to the back porch and get Dad on with us. I think that'll be a fun evening for him. All right. What do you guys got going? Lou, I got to call it like I see it. You got Micah Parsons, who's going to be fired up. They're all going to be fired up. Now, the flip side to that is our boys, where we have the leadership in our locker room of Jalen Hurts, first and foremost, of Saquon Barkley, of Elaine Johnson. In particular, guys like Lane and Mailata and Jakey, who have been there before. They've won a Super Bowl. They're coming into the following year. You guys remember the year after we won our first one was a complete dud. Wentz and all his bullshit. We've got the right leadership there to keep everyone grounded, not to walk in being overly arrogant and thinking that we're just going to waltz through just because we smashed Dallas last year. It's totally possible we go out there and absolutely put a world of hurt on them too. But you've also got to remember that we don't, and it's not just us. There's not a whole lot of starters playing in the preseason. So those first 3 to 5 games, somewhere in that stretch, is everybody working out the kinks. And the same can be said for Dallas. We'll see. Unless you're the Cincinnati Bengals, who are saying they are going to play Burrow much more during this preseason than they have in years past because they're sick of getting off to slow starts. I tell you, folks, sometimes it's a real pleasure to live out here and be a fan of the Birds and have to look at these folks and watch them struggle with their front office and ownership, why they won't guarantee at least 2 years of Trey Hendricks's contract and just get him signed. So, real quick on the Bengals, because I live out here and I hear it all the time. Now, they went and signed Noah Fant today. That was a good signing for them. But this is a team that's defense was atrocious last year. So keep in mind, Joe Burrow was the number one passer in the league last year. I think yards and touchdowns. Jamar Chase was the wide receiver triple crown winner, which is receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Trey Hendrickson led the league in sacks. So when you look at the way rosters are built now, where quarterback is the number one value, wide receiver, offensive line, it's like quarterback, wide receiver, offensive tackles, and protect your quarterback and get after other teams' quarterback. The Bengals checked all those boxes. And then throw in T. Higgins, who did miss time with some more hamstring issues, but still had a 900-yard season. And they still couldn't make the playoffs. I mean, that's a mess, right? When you have the number one quarterback in football, the number one wide receiver, and the league's top defensive end as far as sacks are concerned, and you can't make the playoffs. Then you come into this offseason, you draft a defensive player who you just got under contract because you were dicking around with him. And now you've got Trey Hendrickson, who, over the last 3 to 4 years, has an argument that he should be treated in the class with a Myles Garrett, a Max Crosby, a TJ Watt, as far as just, rushing the quarterback. I'm not saying he's the total package that those guys are. But rushing the quarterback, Hendrickson is in that class. And here they are. They only want to guarantee 1 year of the salary. He wants 2. He's not asking for 3, 4, 5. He's asking for 2. And this is the sticking point. Now, he has, in good faith, showed up to camp. Now, that's what a lot of people say, good faith. It's also good faith to not cost yourself $50,000 every day that you don't go. But he's there. They need to get it done. This is a defense that was awful. In their losses last year, the Bengals, in their losses, they averaged 28 points per game in their losses. That's obscene. So to be screwing around with one of the league's premier pass rushers like this, it's just stuck on stupid mentality. So we'll see what happens with Hendrickson here. Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying it. I laugh. I think it's hysterical. But that's just me. I'm a dick. So let's see here. What do we got? Lou Mancini, Keenan, Google backyard cravings. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good call, Lou. Those woof. There are some people, some new spots, some new stuff, some new cheesesteak spots popping up that look absolutely outrageous. I can tell you when we were in Indianapolis for the day over the 4th of July weekend, there is a place north of the city, maybe a 10-minute drive north of downtown Indianapolis, called Hoagies and Hops. They're from Philly. And the whole place is all decked out in Eagles, Phils, Penn State, just everything. And that cheesesteak was spot on authentic. It was fantastic. So it's happening everywhere. But yeah, Lou, good call. That backyard thing is just outrageous. Like you just show up at this dude's house for a cheesesteak. It's wild, man. I think it's cool. All right. Let's get down to business here. So you guys that follow me on Facebook, yeah, you see me post the last couple of days my frustration with a particular analyst. And he is part of Fox Sports, so I try to be at least a little careful because, Green Legion does the pregame shows and everything on this Fox Sports channel. But that being said, Danny Parkins. All right. Now, look, I'm not calling the guy a bad human. I'm sure he's a good dude, all of these things. But this guy is the president of the rage-baiting Philadelphia Eagle fans fan club, basically. He is far and away his addiction to Justin Herbert is nauseating. Every time I hear him, now he filled in for Colin Cowherd, not today, the 3 days previous. So when I go out, and I go eat my lunch, I sit and I listen to Fox Sports Radio. It's Cowherd. And I know he's not everybody's favorite. He's not everybody's cup of tea. He annoys the shit out of me half the time too. But middays can be a little rough with some of the sportscasters, or some of the sports talk. And Cowherd at least is, I do like some of his analogies when he compares things to business standpoint and whatnot. But Danny Parkins is filling in for him the last 3 days. And it was every day. There was a segment of the show where he was talking about, the top 10 quarterbacks and how he ranked them and how he thinks they should be ranked and how he fully believes if the Chargers called Howie Roseman and said, we will give you Justin Herbert for Jalen Hurts straight up, the Eagles would jump on it in a heartbeat. And to that, I will tell you, this is where I look at Danny Parkins and I'm like, you are outside of your mind. Okay, forget about the rankings. All right, we all know some of that's bullshit. We all know that a lot of these people should not be ranked ahead of Jalen Hurts. You guys know my opinion. I would put Patrick Mahomes number 1. I would go Lamar Jackson number 2. I would put Josh Allen 3rd, and I would put Jalen Hurts 4th, followed by Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow slides to 5 because he has not led his team to the playoffs 3 straight seasons. All right. And then, I live out here. So when I say that, I got to hear all the bullshit. Oh, it's the defense. Oh, is it? It's like the more you peel that onion with them, and it's hysterical to watch them go down the rabbit hole. The more you peel it back, it's after about 5 or 6 minutes, I look at him and go, how many more excuses are you going to make for the guy? How many more reasons do you have why he hasn't made the playoffs, except for the fact that, I get it. The defense hasn't been good. I get it. He's been hurt. But you're also trying to make him out to be in the class with Mahomes, with Lamar, with Allen. Those guys tell me how much help Josh Allen had last year. Now, much better defense, no question. But tell me how much help Josh Allen had on the offensive side of the ball last year. It's the number one reason why he won the MVP over Lamar. Lamar had a much bigger year. But Lamar also had Derrick Henry standing next to him, Zay Flowers running routes, 2 excellent pass-catching tight ends. Buffalo, it's Josh and the Allenettes. And so where are we at with Burrow? You've got Jamar Chase, who has elevated himself into the class with Justin Jefferson, in my opinion. Those 2 are the top 2 wide receivers in football. Now, behind that, I don't think there should be another receiver ranked ahead of A.J. Brown. Yeah, here we are. And some people have A.J. Brown like 8th on their list. What the fuck is the matter with you? Joe Burrow has not been able to, ever since the Super Bowl run, he's really not been able to kind of get back there. And yes, the bad defense plays a big role. I just gave you the stat before. They averaged 28 points scored in their losses last year. Got it. He's also been hurt a bunch. The running game has been suspect. His offensive line isn't great. He's got a play caller in Zach Taylor who, while he might be a good leader of men and a good head coach, his play calling can leave a lot to be desired at times. I get it. But when you want to put a guy like your quarterback into the class with the elite, at some point that guy has to be able to overcome this shit and at least get his team to the playoffs. Hell, Justin Herbert got there twice. But Danny Parkins, if you think for a second that Justin Herbert is a better quarterback. Now, you want to talk about just arm talent, I get it. Okay? But that's not all the league is anymore. This isn't 1985 where you just stand back there like a freaking statue and throw the ball around. These guys need to be more mobile, more athletic. They have, and above all else, where is it? Keenan Harmon, nail on the head. Jalen is a winner. The others have winning potential. Jalen Hurts is a winner. Jalen Hurts is an incredible leader, and he's incredibly smart. And we're going to see it again this year. I think we're slow coming out of the gates. I do. Again. Why? Because for the 9th straight year of Jalen Hurts' football career, he is again going to have a new offensive coordinator. Things are going to have to get, and you're not going to play a whole lot in the preseason. So those first 3 to 5 games, again, guys, might look a little bumpy. All right? But hit with this Danny Parkins shit, where he is just convinced that Jalen Hurts would be traded for Justin Herbert without even blinking an eye. If Howie Roseman had that chance, you were out of your mind. Out of your mind. Yeah, hey, look, Jalen Hurts has now been to 2 Super Bowls. He's been the best player on the field in both of them. He's won one of them. Been the MVP in the victory. You could have made an argument for him being the MVP in the loss, but they don't do that stuff. He's been to the playoffs every year. Where's Justin Herbert been? Well, allow me to just enlighten you a little bit here. Justin Herbert has made 2 playoff appearances. So we're going into year 6 with Herbert. Okay? He's played 5 years. We're going into year 6. He's made 2 playoff appearances. Once in 2022, where him and his Chargers had an all-time historic collapse in the second half against the Jacksonville Sunshines. And then this past year, where now look, Herbert wasn't awful in that first one. He wasn't great. 58% of his passes completed, 273 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. But huge halftime lead, blew it. Absolutely blew it. I get it. The defense surrendered all those points, but you didn't score any either. And then we go to last year. They're up against the Houston Texans team that was basically begging to get knocked out. I mean, they just weren't good going into that game. They were floundering going into that game. Herbert goes out there, goes 14 of 32, which is a robust 43.8% completion percentage. I believe that's a full 22 or 23 points lower than league average. 242 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. 4. In that one game, in that one game, the loss, he ended up being the playoff leader for interceptions thrown. I mean, you want to tell me this is the guy that you would trade Jalen Hurts for? Somebody stop the insanity here. You want to tell me about his regular season? I get it. Look, he burst out of the scene his rookie year, 4,300 yards, 31 touchdowns. Second year, he throws for 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns. Then 4,710 touchdowns. Fourth year, he only plays 13 games, goes for 3,100 yards, 20 touchdowns. Last year, Harbaugh kind of shifted things a little bit and went a little bit more run heavy. Herbert throws for 3,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. He led the league in interception ratio at 0.6. So, I mean, obviously the guy can do it. But when those lights turn up bright, there was outside of those 2 playoff games, there's also a game against the Raiders, which I think had a playoff spot on the line, and he was dog shit. Absolute dog shit. When those lights turn up brighter, he tends to wilt and fade away. On the other hand, humor me if you will, to show you a quarterback who does not do that. Jalen Hurts has been in the playoffs every year that he has been the starter. 21, 22, 23, and of course 24. He has a 6-3 playoff record. He's completed 66.8% of his passes in the playoffs, including 71.4% of his passes each of the last 2 years. That includes that horrible loss to Tampa Bay in 23. He has thrown 10 touchdown passes to 3 interceptions. So there you go. So he's played in 9 playoff games. He's thrown 3 interceptions. Justin Herbert's played in 2 and thrown 4 to 2 touchdown passes. Jalen Hurts has 10 touchdown passes and 3 interceptions. 1.2 interception percentage. I mean, I don't know what else you need to hear. And that's not even taking into account the rushing statistics. Now, I know this is another spot where Danny Parkins goes in on, and this portion he is kind of right. Jalen Hurts, obviously, the rushing touchdowns are inflated due to the tush push. Okay, let's be honest here. The brotherly shove blows those numbers up. There's no question about it. You can't deny it. You got to be fair. But he doesn't need to do that, right? We just do it because we can, and nobody can stop it. We watched Jalen Hurts take off and run for a nice long touchdown against the Rams in the playoffs last year. Fully capable of doing things with his wheels without the tush push. Okay? So let's get to the rushing and receiving. Playoffs. Rushing. He's got 381 yards and 10 touchdowns. Rushing. So overall, he has 20 playoff total touchdowns. And where's the fumbles? Fumble. I don't know how many of those were lost, but it lists 4 fumbles. So let's call it 20 touchdowns and 7 turnovers. In the playoffs, that is a 3-to-1 ratio in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts. Danny Parkins, I can't, dude. You got to get off of this bad. Look, I don't like Nick Wright, but I heard Nick Wright talking to Danny Parkins just the other day when I was at the gym, listening to the replay of the show. Him and Nick Wright, I guess, have been buddies for a long time. Even Nick Wright told him he was out of his mind. And Nick Wright is not a big Jalen Hurts guy, okay? For obvious reasons. He's a Chiefs guy, so he hates the fact that Jalen's been better than Patrick. When Nick Wright is telling you you're out of your mind, that Jalen Hurts is the superior, he even went as far as to say if Jalen Hurts was the quarterback of the Chargers in that playoff game against Houston, that the Chargers would have won. And this is a guy who is not a big Jalen Hurts fan, right? He's not a big Jalen Hurts supporter. So, it bothers me. It shouldn't. I know you guys, I know Mike English last week was telling me, yeah, who cares about the rankings? And you're not wrong. But that kind of shit bothers me. The stupidity of it. I can't stand it. What did I miss over here? I see the thing lighting up. We have football tonight. Yes, sir, we do. The Hall of Fame game is tonight. Chargers and the Lions. I believe Trey Lance starts for the Chargers tonight. You guys remember Trey Lance? Trey Lance is the guy that should have cost Mike Shanahan his job with the Niners. The only thing that saved it was Brock Purdy actually has performed well, especially for the Mr. Irrelevant pick. Tonight and every week through February. Hallelujah. Right? Jalen Hurts makes me want to drink Sprite. What the fuck, Russ? How you doing, brother? Russ Taylor, boner of the week. The fan that threw the dildo on the court. No. I mean, with a play on words, boner of the week, sure. But when I tell you I was howling laughing, just holler laughing. When I watched that video, I mean, I couldn't have been laughing any harder. And to throw a little tidbit on there, I think I don't understand the network that is about to throw all this money at the WNBA. Do you guys know that since Caitlin Clark has been hurt, not been able to play, their overall ratings are down 55 to 60%. It's one player. They need like 24 more Caitlin Clarks. Crazy talk. Russ Taylor, I am sorry. Every time you say Herbert, I can only hear Pittle, Herbert the pervert. Russ Taylor, the Jalen slander is real. It's about getting likes and clicks from people. It is. And it is. I understand it. But Danny Parkins, I think, really believes this. Like he sounds convinced that this would be the way it goes. Every team has a house of horrors, and ours is Tampa. Must be something in the water. Yeah. So I was there a couple of years ago, Green Legion, and tailgate at Steinbrenner Field, and that was the night they were retiring Rondé Barber, and we pissed all over his parade and beat them. I think it was like 20-6 or something like that. Great night. Yeah, Lou Mancini, when they beat us in the NFC Championship game and won for the first time under 40 degrees. Yep. Russ Taylor, Buccaneers are 4-2 versus the Eagles in the playoffs. They have played 24 times. The Bucs have won 13 of those games. Some teams just have your number. That is the absolute truth, my brother. All right. Yeah, we've got football every week, starting tonight through the Super Bowl, through February, early February. But baseball's not over yet. And today's the trading deadline. Matter of fact, it just passed 11 minutes ago. With that, there have been a barrage of moves. Okay, not the least of which have been done by your Phillies. Let me refresh this page real quick. Let's see. The Padres. Okay, look, so what I'm going to say is, if you watched Heart of the Order, or you watched it later or whatever, especially the preseason one, where you saw Chris Lou and I talking about baseball in general and what we thought was going to happen, we all agreed that the National League was the superior league, and nothing has changed. In my opinion, it's actually gotten worse. I think at that point we were thinking there were like 4 teams that were clearly head and shoulders ahead of anybody in the American League, and that was Philadelphia. The Phillies, the Dodgers, the Padres, and I think the Mets at that point, maybe the Giants. But I think it's gotten worse. I think you can absolutely legitimately sit here and say there are probably 6 teams in the National League right now that are better than any team in the American League. And just take it from east to central to west, the Phillies and the Mets in the east, the Cubs and Brewers in the central, and the Dodgers and Padres in the west, I think you can definitely make the case that all 6 of them are better than any American League team. The American League is, it's Toronto, Detroit, Houston. The Yankees are still there, but the Yankees are not good, right? They're not a championship caliber team. We made a bunch of moves, and I get it. We got some bullpen help. We got another starter. But I just don't think it's enough to move the needle. It's probably enough to move the needle to make sure we make the playoffs. But I don't think that puts us in any kind of contention for a ring. I will tell you right now that if there's one team on either side that, if they're able to continue playing the brand of baseball that they're playing, they are going to be a gigantic pain in the ass come October. And that is the Blue Jays on the American League side, who have caught fire post All-Star break. And then it's the Brewers on the National League side. I know you could say recency bias because they've been hot more so of late. I'm talking about the way in which they're doing it. Like, you see the Brewers, they'll go out to score 10 runs on 17 hits with no homers. Right? Like, they just nickel and dime and death by 1,000 paper cuts. Old school type baseball. A lot of teams just sit back and wait for dingers. These guys are relentless, and the Blue Jays are a lot the same way. So I think those two, if they're able to continue playing that way, they're going to be a lot to handle come postseason. But, I mean, look, guys, your Philadelphia Phillies are right there with the Dodgers, with the Mets, with the Padres, with the Brewers. The Phillies have as good a shot as anybody in the National League to not only reach the World Series but to win it. I think that the World Series winner is coming from the National League, regardless. I am over the moon excited to watch come October what should be an absolute war on the National League side of the playoffs. American League I just don't see the juice. You know what I mean? There's still moves coming through here. Charlie Morton goes to Detroit to help their staff. Yanks get Camilo Doval from the Giants. Bailey Falter heads to Kansas City. Dustin May goes to the Red Sox from the Dodgers. That's interesting. Padres grab Nestor Cortez from the Brewers. Your Phillies went and got Johan Duran. And that's a big move. Okay. It's a big move for multiple reasons. One, your bullpen needed help. It doesn't make you different from really anybody else in baseball. Everybody always needs bullpen help. The Phillies needed bullpen help. And this is a guy who's going to come in with pretty much a 2 flat ERA. He's got a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. In just about 49 and a third innings. The guy's a stud in the pen, right? 16 saves, 6-4 record. He's definitely what you guys needed. Now, to Chris's point, he wanted another big bat. Well, you got Harrison Bader, but that's not an offense move. Harrison Bader is defense. Now, if you want a clinic on how to play center field or any outfield position, really, when Bader comes into a game and a fly ball gets hit out to him, especially if there's runners on, I want you to watch how he positions himself. And this is mostly for like your Keenans and stuff that don't watch a whole lot of baseball. Get an understanding of the clinic that Harrison Bader puts on as far as his defensive prowess in the outfield. It's incredible. So he's Bader's an excellent glove. If you get anything offensively out of him, take it as gravy. The Yankees had him for about a season total from the time we acquired him to the time we jettisoned. And I mean, look, he's fun. He's a fan. He's from New York, so I mean, it was fun to have him. But truthfully, he's a defensive player. So I don't know if this was a move to, we all know that the Phil's defense not exactly the strong suit, right? We all know that. But I wouldn't say like you're god awful. I mean, look at the fucking Yankees. Yankees are terrible defensively, absolutely terrible. It's an important position with Anthony Volpe. But the Phillies' defense is not exactly your calling card, right? So now you get a guy in Bader who, you got a 3-1 lead late in the game. Let's shift the outfield around. Let's get Bader out there. Make sure that everything, the guy just plays stellar defense. All right. And then Johan Duran. I mean, that's just a great move. Yankees get David Bednar from the Pirates, who's been awesome. Back to the Duran trade for your Phils. I do want to point out, I had read this before. You traded catcher Eduardo Tate and right-handed pitcher Mick Abel. However. This was your number 4 and number 6 prospects. So, Tate, only 18 years old, catcher. Abel was ranked number 2 in your farm for some years. Fell to number 6, but at AAA, he's had 13 starts this year, 2.31 ERA as a 23-year-old. So you gave up good prospects to get Duran. But it's a move I think you had to make. You can go look. I mean, there has been just a barrage of moves, and it's still coming. Let me see what happens if I refresh this page. We get anything new here. Updated 20 minutes ago. Padres add right-handed pitcher Mason Miller, left-handed pitcher J.P. Sears. Those are good, big moves. Astros go and get Carlos Correa back from the Twins. The Twins absolutely dismantled their roster. They're done. All over. The Mariners, big moves for the Mariners. They went out and they got Naylor, and then they went out and got late last night, got Eugenio Suarez. This is the one that Chris wanted the Phillies to go after. The Mariners go and get him. Those are big moves for Seattle. They're pushing their chips up, and they're trying to make a run. And they should, because especially the American League. The American League, I think, is wide open. You just get in, you've got a chance. I don't think anybody's like a clear cut. Oh, Jesus, nobody's beating them. National League, I think you have that group of teams where it's like, Jesus Christ, dude, this is going to be a war. But I'm looking forward to watching it. So what do you got? Speaking of Russ Taylor, speaking of Phillies, Yankees, how about dude getting yanked by his girl in the stands at Yankee Stadium? I mean, Yankee Stadium. Lou Mancini, switching gears here, but congrats on shedding some weight. When your face is thinner, it's proof you're doing it right. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Update there. When we weighed in, this was back, during March Madness, so middle of March. I was at 231.4. Not a good look on me. This morning I got on the scale and I was at 200.2. So we've done a lot of hard work and it's paying off. And yeah, thank you for noticing, man. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. It's not without its challenges. Lou Mancini again. Now we have 4 outfielders who can't hit. Yeah. So let's put a bow on it and finish it up with the baseball talk. I think that some of what you're seeing and what should be happening, all of your big market teams should definitely be out there doing. Here's what I'll say: big market or smaller market, whatever way you want to call it. Everyone should be doing what they can to position themselves, if they think they can do it, position themselves for title contention this year and in 2026. As it stands right now, the current collective bargaining agreement will expire December 1st of 2026. So you're talking at next off, not this coming off season, after the 2026 World Series. The biggest challenge in getting a new CBA is the push that's coming for a salary cap and a salary floor. Now, those of you that listen to Chris, Lou, and I, you guys know that we are advocates of this. I believe any baseball fan should be an advocate for this. The sport has needed it for a long time. And dude, this is coming from a Yankees fan, all right? And I was saying this before, when it was still Big George, when it was still the boss. Baseball has needed a salary cap for a very long time. They don't have it. Number one reason, because that players union is the strongest players union in any professional sport. I hate to say it, but I'm pretty sure we are headed for a work stoppage come December of 2026. And I think it may be a long lockout, a long work stoppage. I think you may see a delay to the start of 2027 baseball. It's happened before, right? So 1994, we all know what happened there. Was the first and only time the World Series was canceled. And that thing carried into 1995. We had a delayed start that year. It was also the year they added the wild card. So it juiced some things up a little bit. But this wouldn't be unprecedented. And this particular topic is going to be a big problem. Just take, I'm talking to a Philly audience. Take your own clubhouse, for example. Rob Manfred, like he does every year. And I'm not a Manfred fan, okay? I think when it's all said and done, he is going to get credit for saving the game because of the pitch clock and some of the other changes that are coming. I think this salary cap is coming no matter what. But I think it's going to be ugly to get there. I'm not exactly the biggest Manfred fan, but part of the things that he does as the commissioner of baseball is he travels around the league, obviously, and he will go into teams' clubhouses. Well, I'm sure all of you have heard about Bryce Harper kind of getting in his face and basically telling him, if you're here to talk about salary cap, get out. And that led to an argument between Manfred and Harper, to which I would tell you Harper should probably watch it a little bit. That is the commissioner of baseball. But I don't totally blame Harper. You know, it did feel a little bit like old Harper, where he's, trying with the bravado and the little bit of brat mentality. But overall, he's just, overall, I think everyone was thinking what Harper actually said. I think it's foolish thinking, though. I understand why the players don't want a cap, because obviously that caps, the salaries. But there's also a floor that's being presented as well. So we don't know all the details of what's been presented right now or what's being whispered about right now. We're still a year and change away from that CBA expiring. But the cap has to come with a floor to appease some of this stuff. But this damn thing has to get done. It just does. And I think it's foolish thinking on the players' part to be too combative about it. This will help save the sport. Look, baseball has made great strides the last few years, okay? They still don't market their stars very well. I think we can all agree on that. But it has made great strides in having different types of events, right? So Field of Dreams baseball games. Excellent. They played the one at Rickwood Field last year. Excellent. They're playing one Saturday night at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's the Braves and the Reds. Awesome. The All-Star game this year. You guys heard me talk about it last week, how great I thought that was. What an excellent job they did. The pitch clock has certainly helped the game. And you get some people out there that are like, oh, it's less baseball. No, it's the same amount of baseball. It's just in a shorter amount of actual time. Look, the ghost runner on second in extra innings needs to fuck off. Like, that needs to go away. But, the other things, they've made great strides. The cap and floor should be looked at in that realm, that this is going to help the sport. You will get parity out of it. You will, the players are looking at, oh, we're not going to make as much money. It's not what's going to happen, because there's going to be a floor, meaning it's going to force these freaking teams that don't spend to spend. Right now, you have this weak-ass luxury tax, which any team that Yankees, Dodgers, Phillies, Braves, Mets, Cubs, all of these teams can afford to go, Red Sox, all of these teams can afford to go over that luxury tax threshold. All of them. And they do it. And they pay the penalty. That penalty money goes into a pool that gets dispersed to your smaller markets. So why the hell can't Pittsburgh retain players? Why can't Cincinnati retain players? Why is Tampa Bay still playing like they live in a crack house? Because there's nothing forcing them to bring that team salary up. This will do that. So, you'll see teams like the Dodgers squad. Now, the other thing that needs to happen is you can't keep letting teams defer $600 million. $700 million. That can't happen anymore either. All right. Sign the contract, pay the son of a bitch while he's under contract. That's it. Right. As much as I enjoy Bobby Bonilla Day every year, that kind of crap probably needs to go away when we start talking salary cap and salary floor. All right. Because the idea of it is you get a more level playing field. This is what's happened with football. All right. Football put in that salary cap and modern free agency, 1994 and 1995, which just so happened to coincide with the last huge baseball strike where the World Series got canceled. And we almost, it propelled football past baseball. It killed the Montreal Expos. And look what's happened with football. They have set the precedent. Baseball needs to follow suit. And this players union needs to get the hell over themselves, because what's going on right now is not sustainable, right? You can't just keep having the same shit every single year. It can't be every year Phillies, Dodgers, Braves, Mets, Cubs on the National League side, and Yankees, Red Sox, whoever on the American League side. When opening day comes, you already know who's not gonna have a chance. Pittsburgh, Colorado, Minnesota, the White Sox. You just know, right? Salary cap and salary floor helps to solve that. What happens then? You end up with more exciting games in different cities. What's the result of that? More fans come in, right? It becomes a more enjoyable watch all the way around, because it's not just, well, the Yankees are off to, they're going to win 100 games this year, or the Phillies are going to go out and, and come the trade deadline, everybody looks at 6 teams. They're like, oh, what are these guys going to do? Well, now the trade deadline becomes, with a cap and a floor and a more level playing field, trade deadline becomes, well, who's got a dump salary, right? Who's going to have to get rid of somebody because they can't afford to pay him come next year, even if they're in contention. It changes the dynamic in an excellent way. And that's the way it should be looked at. Unfortunately, Players Union doesn't seem to be doing that. And the owners are going to keep it's going to get ugly, folks. It's just going to get ugly. I don't think there's any other way to cut that except for the fact that it's just going to get shitty. And there you go. Perfect example, Russ. Nail on the head. Who's going to sign Paul Skeens? So to tie this back to our conversation about the trade deadline, I think that's why, look, there's always a barrage of moves, but you've seen, like this afternoon's been wild. Any team that feels that they're close enough to make a title run this year or next year should be all in. That's it. That's the way it's got to go. And then take a look at some of these players. Like, take a look at Aaron Judge. If there's a work stoppage, and let's just say, God forbid, we don't have baseball in 2027. So Aaron Judge, we'll bring him up. Aaron Judge, and I use him for selfish reasons. Aaron Judge will be 34 years old next year in April. So let's say there's a work stoppage in 27. He's 35. So which means he'll play his age 34 year and possibly not get back on the field until his age 36 season, having missed an entire year of baseball. Does it start to unravel? Look at Bryce Harper. These guys with these huge contracts right now. Everybody, you could kind of tell the way it was going. Everybody was trying to get, all the big stars were trying to get inked through their age 40 season. What happens with the work stoppage? There's not enough forward thinking like that. What are you doing to protect yourself right now? And what are you doing to set it up for the guys coming up behind you? Right? The only reason why this game is here is because the guys before them made it possible. So All right, I'm off my soapbox, and I am out of time, guys. Let me get back over to the room here one more time. You guys have been going at it over here. Strike. Yeah, unfortunately, it just looks like that's what's coming. Russ Taylor, the funny thing is, if MLB is work stoppage, the fans will come back. If the WNBA is work, I'm not so sure. A lot of fans will come back. I know I will. But I think they'll lose a lot of fans permanently. Because what it all comes down to is billionaires arguing with millionaires over how to split up billions. And it's nauseating for guys like us who are basically just blue collar dudes in a world where the cost of everything has gone up exponentially and wages haven't. So I think it's going to piss a lot of people off. And I don't think you'll see that same comeback. Remember, you don't have steroids to bail you out again, like they did after '94. That was why everybody turned a blind eye to it. They needed the fucking fans to come back. Ruster, I love how MLB has certain special games. Little League Classic, that's a good one too. Opening in Japan. I'm not big on the opening in Japan. I don't mind playing some games over there, but this is an American sport, and I think opening day should be over here. Just my opinion. But the Field of Dreams, the racetrack game now, Rickwood Field last year. I mean, I would love to see them keep expanding on these sorts of things and just continue to make these events out of it. Have you seen the? Yeah, well, the Rays are playing in Steinbrenner Field, which is wild. Russ Taylor, deferred crap is going to get smacked down because the state is going to want to be. Well, not just the state. If you're going to enforce a cap and a floor, you can't have somebody paying $1 million for Shohei Ohtani and then allow him to pay him $699 million 3 years after he's retired. That defeats the purpose of the cap and floor. Right. The bottom line is right now the players' union has the players getting these huge contracts. They're getting away with freaking murder with it, and it's got to stop. Keenan. Salary cap destroyed the Cowboys. They really haven't been shit since. I agree. You couldn't just go out and spend anymore, right? 49ers, same thing. All Skeens. Mentioning Skeens makes me want to scream for Manny Brothers sucks. Yeah. Folks, that's it. I'm out of time. I'm going to rock and roll here. I got a little laundry to do because I'm not going to be able to do it tomorrow night. Then I'm going to kick back and hang out with the fam, give myself a break from the gym tonight, and just chill. So, come on back again next week. I don't know if we'll be at the back porch next week or if we'll be back here at the compound. But I am going to start trying to work towards getting some buddies to come on as we get closer to football season, the actual start of the season, and we start breaking down schedules and all that stuff. Trying to, give our picks for division winners and, playoffs and all of that happy shit. We're going to get back to the porch, get Dad on, get Mike. And, one other thing. We did get contacted. I got a letter in the mail. I don't know if you guys have heard of this publication. It is cheesy. It's not a big deal. It's called, what is it, Esquire or something like that? Who's Who in America. Somehow or another, sometime in June, I was nominated to appear in that publication for Who's Who in America based on the article in the Dayton, Ohio newspaper from back in February about how Mike and I have turned the back porch into a legit Birds bar. So I emailed them back today and I said, look, I appreciate it. I said, I'd like a little more detail, and it can't just be me. It's got to be, I need to add Mike's name to that as well. So we'll see where that goes. I'll let you guys know. I thought it was a little cheesy, but it's fun. Anyways, folks, you guys put an end to Friday Eve. Look forward to the weekend. Come on back in next week. At minimum, I will be telling you all about Enshrinement Day. We'll look back at trade deadline and see how these things are playing out and start looking forward to, as of right now, we're only 5 weeks from Eagle football, baby. All right. So take care. Enjoy the upcoming weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Remember that Judge is not back in until Monday. And as always, folks, go Birds. All right, kids. I'm out of here. Take care. Watch that football game tonight. We love you.